later.
In 1968, when 2001 was released, sound design was not a recognized concept. Still, Stanley Kubrick's technique for implementing sound was controversial at best. While Kubrick initially hired composer Alex North to score 2001, he ultimately decided to use pre-existing music because, quote, "there is such a multitude of great orchestral music available from the past," end quote. Throughout the film, Kubrick connects different settings with certain emotions through music and sound. For example, shots of deep space are completely silent, while shots of and on spacecrafts are accompanied by the Blue Danube Waltz by Johann Strauss, which you'll hear in the following scene. Kubrick played these songs through the scene recording to see if they would mesh. In moments where the characters encounter the eerie black monolith seen here, music by György Ligeti plays. Ligeti is known for the eerie overlapping vocals you hear in this song, titled Requiem. Kubrick incorporates many wide shots of the spacecrafts used throughout the film, such as this one. They are often backed by this slow, or adagio, violin. This scene is very engaging with the audience as it gives us a wide shot angle of the spacecraft they're on for the Jupiter mission. Although this is a continuous shot, instances such as this where character Frank Poole is seen running across the camera adds a lot of interest to the visuals. The dramatic cut to a shot that comes from behind Dr. Poole reminds viewers that in space there is no gravity, which makes movement very different. He uses sticky shoes here so that he can run on the wall. Here we are introduced to the onboard AI, HAL 9000, who is in charge of the Jupiter mission.
Some more work?
A few sketches.
May I see them?
Sure.
That's a very nice rendering, Dave. I think you've improved a great deal. Can you hold it a bit closer?
Sure.
That's Dr. Hunter, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
There are only 40 minutes of dialogue in this 3-hour film. The vast majority of this takes place between HAL 9000 and character David Bowman, as seen in the previous scene. As you heard, Hal has a very unnerving voice, which shows us that over time he will eventually become corrupt.
Hello, Hal, do you read me? Hello, Hal, do you read me? Do you read me, Hal?
Affirmative, Dave. I read you.
Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
What's the problem?
I think you know what the problem is just as well as I do.
What are you talking about, Hal?
This mission is too important for me to allow you to jeopardize it.
I'm sorry, Dave, I cannot do that, remains the most famous line from this movie. But it causes a chain of events where Dr. Bowman has to disengage Hal, and then it leads him on a journey through interdimensional space and time. In this sequence, he enters the Black Monolith, and we hear Ligeti's Lux Aeterna. The rays of color we see throughout this scene were made using a projector and art that Stanley Kubrick actually made himself. These sequences incorporate a lot of captivating visuals that are different from anything else seen in the film. Finally, Bowman reaches this white room with only a bed and a table in it that seems to be a paradox as he encounters multiple versions of himself in his time here, eventually growing old. Here we see his character directly engaging with the Black Monolith for the first time, and despite its presence on screen, it's completely silent. Bowman reached old age in this space, and this shot of an embryo in his place in the bed implies that he has reached rebirth. film ends in the same way it begins, playing Thus Spoke Zarathustra by Robert Strauss. This song is inspired by the philosophy of Friedrich Nietzsche, who wrote a book of the same title that focuses on the idea that humans will eventually be replaced by the Übermensch, or Superman. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching.
I'd like to be the moon.